Hi there. So this is my confession for this week, Confessio number 5. And I have to say that I don't think there is any spirituality to be sought after. I've been involved in this for 40 years now, doing all the practices, well, on and off. Pretty much on though. I conclude there is no spirituality. This world is ruled by fear, greed, materialism, and selfishness. And that change as it is comes about when these forces are gone against. And otherwise, there is no change if these forces remain unopposed. So that means basically that the universe is at war and with itself, uh, with duality. Either the world does not exist or the world does not matter. Um, and all these questions don't matter. Before I was spiritual, before I got into spirituality, I was a happy person. Especially when I turned 18 and I went to college, I didn't think about anything at all, apart from my own survival. And I was happy, and then I got into, and then I got met Friends of the Earth and got into environmentalism. And then I got into spirituality after that. Of course, you could argue that spirituality has nothing to do with environmentalism, and you're probably right. But a lot of people like myself in the 80s got into that. We're child of the 80s, of the adversarial spirit, of being a rebel without a cause, and now there is no cause to be a rebel over. So we're just left with nothing, really. We're just left with a sore head and a hangover from decades of banging your head against a brick wall, basically. And the brick wall's just got bigger and stronger rather than weaker. Maybe it's got bigger and stronger from banging your head against it. Maybe the wall likes to have people banging their heads against it because then the wall just gets stronger. The wall sucks energy out of the people, out of the headbangers of this world, if you pardon the pun, or even if you don't. So I don't think spirituality exists at all. I think that we live in a world where there just is no spirituality. The world is just as it is. And there's nothing more than what you see around you, the five senses. Possibly there's a little bit of intuition. Possibly, there's a certain faculty for foreknowledge and foreboding, but it's very limited. It's certainly not cosmic. It's in fact very local, very limited, and very inaccurate mostly, 90% of the time. And then certainly, certainly selfishness rules the day. I'm going to have my kicks before the whole shithouse goes up in flames, as Jim Morrison said. Materialism, the matter is all that there is, really. And you've just got to get as much matter, accumulate as much matter that is beneficial to you as you possibly can. And then I think that certainly there's greed. I mean, greed is what it's really all about. And greed is just the other side of fear. And fear is the absolute, well, that's what the world is about, really. And probably a combination of fear and greed will lead to the extinction of the human race. And then there'll be no spirituality because there'll be no more human. And man is not God. Man will be extinct, and that will be the end of end of the temples and end of the spirituality and end of all the YouTube channels talking about spirituality, because there'd be no more human race to bother with and to be bothered with, or with all these silly questions that basically are questions that don't have any answers, because they don't refer to anything that possibly could give us an answer. So in another video I'm going to talk about, well, don't reject the world on one hand, but don't be a sort of animal on the other. Find your true will, and it's about Gnosticism and Thelema. That's my next video. But really, I don't think that's of any consequence, really. I don't think we're doing our true wills. I think we just think we are. I think individualism and the American dream is just that. It's just a pipe dream. And we're all just sort of mindlessly heading towards the cliff. We are the tarot. We are the fool. And everything is going to be destroyed in the end, which would be a good thing. Because, I mean, or basically we will quote Jim Morrison again, we'll fall headlong into boredom. Life is just so boring. It's so boring, it's not even worth staying alive to actually partake of this pie of boredom that people are partaking in. So that's my confession for today. And having made my confession, I feel a lot better, because that's what confessions do. They make you feel loads better, because you're being honest with yourself and with others for the first time ever in your life. Right? And enough of this spirituality. Enough of this New Age talk. Enough of this crystal nonsense. Enough of this duality as well. It isn't duality. This is the non-dual world, the selfish, fearful, greedy, materialistic, non-spiritual world that you see around you. This is all that there is, basically. And that's my conclusion from all the years of study that I have done